Each level of self-awareness has its degrees, much like the spectrum of light. And generally, people move gradually from one level to the next. But to every rule, there are exceptions. And one such exception are the stage jumpers, who live in a perpetual in-between evanescent state. When awakening happens as a result of an intense pressure and suffering, there is a leap in consciousness from one stage to the higher end of that stage, or even two levels ahead. Your challenge then is that of playing a never-ending catch-up with the lessons from the stages jumped over. Is when you have an awakening spiritual experience, showing you that you are more than meets the eye, that there are more levels of existence. You start getting glimpses of these different worlds and realities, which you call out-of-body experiences, astral plane visitations, etc. You have glimpses of consciousness as if another pair of eyes open from time to time, another window through which you see into other dimensions. But for lack of a solid base, either because of the stage jump or because you forced it through third eye awakening, Reiki, etc. Before fully integrating the previous stages, these experiences then become a dangerous mix of realities diagnosed as mental illnesses, from anxiety to depression all the way to psychotic episodes. This is the stage most old souls, light workers, or healers who experience an abrupt awakening are at. Without their second level, with its formal academic education completed, which paradoxically will be dropped at the higher level, but without it integrated at this stage from which to develop a structured, organized thought process, to have a reasonable cultural background in various areas, to gain some basic skills in intellectual analysis, their brain will lack the structure and ability to process this complex information and will easily fall victim of their gift. They will fall victim of confabulation created by their previous stage superstitions. The only knowledge they have to compare it with will dictate their interpretations. This is why people have the same story after near-death experience of white light, tunnel, meeting their relatives or angels, because they can only translate their experience through the beliefs framework they have. At this stage, anything and everything goes. Many people in this phase are easily deceived by other interdimensional entities, posing as whatever that person holds in high esteem: Jesus, Mary, angels. This is the stage that channelers are at, being used by these entities to possess them while giving people advice on various issues. In doing so, the veil between the worlds is penetrated with people's consent by entities who are not supposed to come through. This is how people get possessed after seances and family constellation work, channeling, and other such dangerous practices. The in-between stage individuals are natively intelligent and frustrated that they cannot articulate their complex experiences. This is also one of the reasons many people suffer from depression and personality disorders. Two worlds are competing for their attention: their inner world, with its glimpses into these realities, and this dense material experience with its rigid physical laws and social rules, which does everything in its power to invalidate our otherworldly experiences. You have that yearning for someplace else, for easier living, for joy and love. You somehow know it exists, yet you are trapped in a world of indentured servitude that makes no sense to you. Many people suffering from personality disorders, the EUPD, formerly known as borderline personality disorders, are struggling with this in-between phase of consciousness, elated, depressed. These are not mental illnesses, and that's why there is no treatment on earth to cure them. And here is where it becomes complicated to untangle the cause from the effect. On the physical plane, all personality disorders and mental illnesses are caused by abuse and neglect in childhood. From the physical science point of view, the cause of their condition is their childhood trauma. But there are two fundamental layers that both medical science and therapeutic approaches and the New Age alternative healing are missing. Number one, the spiritual reason and meaning of having that traumatic experience to begin with. The reason that pathogen, that virus, has met the cell to fortify their immune system. why only a certain category of people experience such soul-shattering violation of their human body and soul. And number two, where have they gone during that traumatic experience? In what other reality and world have they escaped at that time, which they keep accessing unconsciously each time they are triggered, making them look and feel like one moment they are here and the next they are there or somewhere or somebody else. These are not mental illnesses, but the effect on the untrained psyche of these glimpses of other worlds to which they've gained access not through natural evolution by completing each stage, but through trauma. Because on the physical plane, the self-defense mechanism of the psyche during trauma is to fragment itself and escape in the last visited place before taking possession of this body. That's one part of the equation on the physical dimension. And on the spiritual higher plane, which oversees all planes, that trauma on the physical plane was allowed for a reason. And healing happens when you've listened to the message that experience tried to convey and understood its purpose. It is that understanding and the self-corrections that it asks you to do that heals you. It's the lack of knowledge of the full picture of the fact that each poison carries its cure that makes people lose faith in God when such atrocities happen to children. If God existed, it wouldn't allow children to die. Why does God take only the good people? Both believers and non-believers talk about a God they've heard about from others, but they've never actively tried to find what God's all about, what they're all about. Because if they would actively try to figure out what their life here is all about, they will inevitably crack the God code. Your active searches for meaning and purpose is what puts you in conversation with self, with God, with that force behind everything which is not the same as the God presented by religious dogma. I know I'm taking you in a deep end, but if you only retain one thing so far, is that everything, absolutely everything in existence is ruled by the universal law of paradox, true on one level, in one dimension, and false in another. Being and not being a human ruled by physical needs at this level, but also being something else ruled by needs beyond the physical, being a male but also having a female part, and vice versa, awake from the human perspective and asleep from other levels of existence. Every experience we have is a coin with two sides representing both worlds, the material and the spiritual, the demiurge, Satan, and God, self. Every bad thing that happens to us has an inherent gift, a virtue, and every good thing that happens to us carries a hidden vice, a temptation, a test. Where matter is trying to bring you down to the same experience, spirit is trying to wake you up. Going back to these oscillating in-between realities of people who experience trauma, for each that place to which their fragmented self escaped is different, and that fragment will be a double trigger, a double reminder of the trauma and the other realities, hence their yo-yo states. And that's why trauma therapy will do in the long term more harm than good, because they don't understand the law of paradox that the poison has inherent a cure. The more traumatic the experience that forced you to check out of 3D experience, the bigger the reminder that you are here with a higher purpose. If you have been abandoned and abused in this life and suffer from treatment-resistant depression, it's a clear sign that you've been here before many times. And you've got to the point where you need a hard wake-up slap to jolt you out of your oblivion as to your true nature and mission here. Even if at the human level we are only a child, that being occupying the child's body is not born at the same time with the body. So when someone is trying to heal your trauma, unknowingly they're deepening your trance and level of unconsciousness from which that experience tried to wake you up in this life. And this would be understandable for the level 2 medical science and therapists, but not for those pretending to have special spiritual powers. If they were spiritually mature, they would have helped you see without their fanfare and inventive rituals, by simply being in their presence. My MS paralyzed client was able to play an invisible piano with his paralyzed fingers after 4 sessions of me just talking to him, and he got up and walked 10 steps unaided by his crutch after 8 sessions. I didn't poke him, didn't use any nonsensical ritual or frog poison or spirit invocation and the likes. I saw him as he was and I helped him see himself with the same eyes. So through this inner work and the way I looked at him, he acquired his results. What should you do if you are at the in-between stage to escape this back and forth? Integrating your higher level is equal to finding your purpose. First, let's recap the symptoms so you can identify if you or your clients are at this stage. If you are a stage jumper, you will live one day in peace, one day in war. Oscillate between super intelligent and outright dumb. Are inconsistent, start many things and finish none. Hedonistic and selfish, seeking quick pleasures irrespective of the consequences on you or others. When things go well, you claim special merits. When things go wrong, you play the victim, reminding people of how hard you had it. You always look for the shortcut to everything and choose the path of least resistance. This is where gamblers and those using the law of attraction are. You act as spiritually enlightened and preach to others exactly the things you should do. I'm not going to mention a name, but this is the classic example of that spiritual catalyst YouTube influencer. You have high ambitions of superiority and harbor a lot of resentment and jealousy, which you hide behind your Good Samaritan facade. You know to be guilty of all of the above, and these are your demons which haunt you when you are in your down mode, because deep down you know your character flaws for which you hate yourself, and that's why you self-harm in every way possible. Once to punish yourself harder than anyone could do it if they found out, and twice to find relief from that wretched sense of guilt. You feel as if a battle is taking place on your soul, which it does, hence your yo-yos. You are faced with poverty and social humiliation and tempted with the financial success of others achieved by sacrificing their morals. That's the battle on your soul, testing your resolve. Are you going to choose your higher consciousness level this time, or are you giving in and vote the level to material pleasure stage again? And because you haven't made your mind up, because at the higher level you know that that's not why you are here for, you make money quickly and spend it even quicker. It's like you have a love-hate relationship with money, with everything material really, whether things or people. This is the spiritual truth behind your lacks, not the level 2 nonsense of you having limiting beliefs, which some internet guru of wealth and success can help you remove. The only way they become successful and rich is by selling you a lie which you want to believe, by selling you the path of least resistance. They give you a heartwarming story of how they were where you are at, which is the bite, and then pull you in a crescendo of promises that make your brain salivate, and you are done for. You are in. You bought that quick road to riches and success, or heals, miraculous healing, only to realize once in that path is not really that easy, that it requires you to completely abandon your higher values and commit fully to the god of money and whatever ritual that person requires you to do. So you have to give up your limiting beliefs, i.e. your innate sense of decency, your healthy modesty and humbleness, your spiritual call to wake up from this material trance. And those who accept to sign the pact with the devil, because this is what it is. And if you don't believe, just listen to what all those who have reached the top and realized have to say. Think Prince, think Michael Jackson, and there's so many others. They will become other-turn recruiters, like all those belonging to a cult, because your promised riches can only come from selling the same lie to as many as you can, in as many different forms possible. And what better way to sell your soul to the devil than that of pretending to sell the entry to paradise? This is the oldest trick in the history. First it was religion, then science, and now the new age and the law of attraction and abundance courses. And deep down you all know it. You just hope that you were wrong and that they are right. They must be. Look at how happy and wealthy they are. And look at me. They are neither happy nor wealthy, even if they have trillions. But they will never admit it to you, because to do so they will lose everything. So what should you do if you want to integrate your higher level? The first lesson one must master in this stage is that of honest, heart, mind and soul humbleness. Humbleness is your lesson. You must accept to be small if you want to be big. The pain to inner peace and enlightenment is that of sacrificing your little self for the higher self. You must be ready to pay the ultimate Socratic price, that of drinking the poison of the accuser rather than giving up your divine truth. And I know it's not easy, especially in a world of inverted values where your worth is measured in what you have and how you look, and not in who you are behind the surface. And that's why life gets harder and harder with each reincarnation. Each sellout in one life will come back with a compounded interest in the next. Once you have done that, you must catch up with the lessons of the previous stages and develop the psyche accordingly. You must educate yourself through self-study, reading, research to develop the human brain muscle necessary for interpreting and translating these multiple realities without you being tricked or you losing the plot. You must actively seek apply self-knowledge, because if we are here in human form, having a human experience, our life is to fully explore its potential and undiscovered degrees, its untasted flavors, and not to repeat the same old patterns that have been already tried out. This human life is a bus stop on your self-exploration journey. Or by you imitating others, trying to achieve what they have achieved, you are getting on the bus to nowhere, because your journey is unique to you.